This question here is now like similar. Please stop wasting my stickers. This question here is like what you'll get in your exam. You'll be asked, you'll be said that, okay, you've got the following. Whenever whatever is clicked, it will generate a random values or whatever it might occur. Now you're being asked that when this number is equal to something and this number is equal to something, or this action is equal to something, you've then got to perform that action to that. For argument's sake, this is just an example. Now, the first thing it's going to ask you to do is it's going to have to ask you to take, and you're going to be asked to answer this in question 203. So, first thing I need to do is I need to get from LBL number, I need to get that and I need to convert it into a text and store it into a number. So you'll be asked to declare and create a local variable. So I'm going to call it num1, and I'm going to make it equal to.
Sorry, did you just say convert from to a number?
Yes. Now, why I'm saying this? Just hold on. You guys are starting to really. Okay. So you'll notice that in the design, this here is a label. And it's called LBL number. Now, if you'll notice, if I want to get what isn't contained in LBL number, I would go get text. And what data type does get text return? Which means for me to store that and work it out as a numerical number, I have to convert that text, because it's string, into a numerical value. Do we know that that label is always going to contain a numerical value? Yes, because it's not editable. And I'm always only inputting a numerical number in there. So I know this is always going to contain a numerical value. So when I say .getText, I know that that is going to be a numerical value. But I need to store it into an integer, so I'm going to create a variable called int_num. And will this work? No, because this is a different data type than that. So what I can do is I use integer.parseIt. Now I'm actually interested if it will allow me to do it through this. Insert code. Oh, it doesn't allow me to do that. Anyway,
could just say int.
So you can't for a text because a string is not. It doesn't treat it like an object. So it'll give you an error to do this. So if it was an object, I could use this to convert it, but it will not allow you to do this from a string. So to convert a string to an integer, you go integer dot parseInt, and then you will take that string. That is a class, so there's a class called integer, and there's a method called parseInt. And parseInt, sorry, I did that a bit too quickly. I actually want to show you what it shows you. It says that it will take a string. It even tells you that. It will receive a string as a parameter, and then it will return it as a int. So it will convert that string, that text, into an integer, and then store it into numbers. So when you want to take a label or another object that will return you something as a string. If you need to take however you get that string, if you need to take a string and you have to convert it into an integer, you use integer.parseInt. If you need to convert an object to a string, that's when you do int. Do you guys get that? Now, the next one, I've got a value which I want to compare. So let's say now I've got an action. So I'm going to say string action is equal to cmb action.get value. Now in this case, get selected value. Sorry, selected item. Now you'll notice there, selected item returns, what data type does it return? An object. So I'm receiving it as an object. But now I need an object to be a string. Now, ironically, it says there incompatible types because I'm forcing an object into a string. So if I go to the red here, it says the incompatible types. Object cannot be converted to a string. Now Java has a shortcut to convert to strings. Because strings are so often used, to convert to string, you can just add a string to it and it will automatically convert it to it. So to convert a string to an integer, so I'm even going to write that in code here so that you guys can, so we actually have this commented. Convert string to integer using integer.parseInt. And then the other way around, if you need to convert object to string or integer to string, you just add inverted commas, and that will convert it across to that. You guys get that? One other type of conversion you might do to convert an object, as object to a integer, you cast, which means you go int, and then the object can follow, and that will force it into an integer. Do you guys get that? So depending on how your Greek parameter as the object, you would have to do one of those things. So now, the next option we've got here, I've now got the number that I want to work with, I've got the action that I want to work with, and then now I want to do it. So now I want to actually do this action. But now, if my action is a string, right? How would I to compare integers, I'll use equals equals. But how do I compare strings? Dot equals. Okay, there's a method, because a string is not a numerical value. It is not a data type. It is a complex array of characters. So instead of going equals equals, I use a method that is part of it. And you'll see that there's a lot of methods, and the only method you guys are going to be using during your exam is the dot equals. You guys get that? And your dot equals is going to be, okay, if it's equal to a count down, then I want to perform count down. So I'm even going to run the method that says I want to create a method public void count down. Else, if action dot equals, what's the other option? Fibonacci. Stars up. Okay, then else. But no, there's only 3 options right now, isn't there? So I can just go else. So if it's count down, it will do that. If it's Fibonacci, it will do this. So I can again just create a method called Fibonacci. I have no idea if I'm spelling it right every single time, but probably not. The question is, what did I call it in the combo box? Because I'd have to spell it the same as what I called in the common box. And then we would have a last method, public void stars up. Now, so else we would run there stars up. Do you guys get this? Now, when I want to count down, there's a problem with doing this, isn't there? Because I've got the num in here. Okay, so let me actually just code it rather in here. Let me not do methods. I don't need to do methods. So to count down, what would I do?
One or for loop or minus one.
So I'll go for, so first of all, I'll create a string to do a display. So let's go string display is equal to blank. I'll then create a for loop that will start on my number, which is num. It will then loop while I is greater than num, greater than 0, sorry. You can even say greater than or equal to 0, your choice. And then I'll go I minus minus. I'll then say display plus equals num plus a comma semicolon. Then at the end of it, I would say, actually no, I can leave it. And then at the end of all of these, I could just say txt. What did I call my display? I didn't name it yet, did I? Yeah, probably I didn't name it. TXT display. But what if you have more than one text area, you see? That's why I named it. 1, 2, 3, there you go, TXT 523. What the hell? What's number 523? Yeah. So then I'll do txt display dot set text. Oh, I can't do that, can I? I've got to do it in each action because I made a local variable. Never mind, ignore me. Because I made it only available there. So set text, and then I'd make it equal to display. Alright? So count up is done. What would I do for Fibonacci? We create a x is equal to. Have I ever shown you guys this way?
Yes, sir.
Declaring 3 variables, 1 line?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so then This would technically because 0 and 1 is already there. So we'd want technically 2 Fibonacci numbers have already been added. So now it will add the rest to them from onwards. Because 2 Fibonacci numbers are already there on the display, and this is beyond that. So now z is equal to x plus y semicolon. Then I'd say display plus equals comma z comma plus z semicolon, and then I'll say there x is equal to y is equal to z semicolon. Cool, and then I'll go here and I'll say display txt display. Damn it. Now,
So, but then you don't initialize display again, so it's like the previous thing.
what do you mean?
Display isn't it initialized?
No, it's declared. I declared it individually, which means it's only valuable for here. So in other words, it only exists here. As soon as it gets out of there, it means it no longer exists. I re-initialize it here, and then it only exists until here. And then I have to re-initialize again. So now what you're saying would make more sense. It means if I was clever, which I obviously wasn't, I would have done this. And then what I would have done is I would have actually only done this after I've decided what display should be. And then in which case I wouldn't have to do that every single time. But it doesn't matter which way I did it. And the last one, if it's not Fibonacci or countdown, what was it? Stars up, right? Okay, so for stars up, now that's 2 loops, so it's 4 tab, and we want 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star. So we stop at I, and we stop here at num. And we'll then just go display plus equals a star, and we'll then go here display plus equals a enter sign. And then that would work. Do you guys get that? The main thing I was wanting to go through here for the test is that I would have given you this kind of stuff. You would have needed to then get the information from them and then work with setting the text, changing the text, working with numbers, declaring variables, making loops, and that kind of stuff. Now if I click play, it will open up on this screen here, and I go, well, let's make it a bit smaller because that's a bit crazy. Now I go random. Have I ever called this method? Question 203, has it ever been called? No. So what I must do is when I call the random method, generate random, I should also then call, what is it called, question 203. So whenever we click the random button, it will work there. So I never called that method, so that wouldn't. But guys, your methods would have already been called, and so forth. I code the memo, then I delete the memo, and then leave the delete the code in between that you guys have to code, and then work with that. So if I click random, whoa, hello. So that does the stars up to 96. Click random again. Whoa, Fibonacci for 27 times. If I click random again, stars up. Which is the other one? So it does Fibonacci countdown. Okay, there we go. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. 5, 5, 5.
What'd you do wrong, sir?
I used the wrong variable. I used num, so I've displayed num 5 times instead of displaying r. Stupid me. So now if I run, but guys, that also shows you, I've been coding for years, I still make mistakes. You just have to kind of look at it. So now everything should work. a Fibonacci countdown. There we go. From 97 to 0. Sweet. So all of them work. I hope this video will help you a bit with the Java paper. It's 15 minutes long. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.